Good morning, Year 9. I hope you're well and having a lovely day. Please could you write the date and title, Benedick Overhears the Boys. For this lesson, you'll need a copy of the extract from Act 2, Scene 3, access to YouTube to watch a clip of the scene, as well as a scene summary to help you, and different coloured pens and highlighters. Can you remember Benedick's list of qualities in his ideal woman? Write them down. Pause the video for 5 minutes to do this now. So this is the list: rich, wise, virtuous, fair, mild, noble, of good discourse, an excellent musician, and whatever hair colour. If you didn't get them, please write them down now. Okay, I'd like to watch this clip from Act 2, Scene 3, Benedick Overhears. Write down your first impressions about this scene. Which bits made you laugh? Today's focus is who is Benedick. Pause the video for 10 minutes to do this now. Comedy through knowledge, dramatic irony. Dramatic irony is a literary technique originally used in Greek tragedy, by which the full significance of a character's words or actions is clear to the audience or reader, although unknown to the character. In this sense, dramatic irony is created because we, the audience, are in on the plan to trick Benedick. While he is surprised and shocked at what he hears, we know it's coming, so we can see the humour in it. It works a bit like a pantomime. He's behind you. We're all in on the joke. Write down at least one example of how comedy is created in this scene through dramatic irony. So we've got a couple of examples. When the men gather together to pretend to whisper about what's going on, we see Benedick is confused by this. We can see how Benedick's trying to hide. We can hear how loudly the men are talking to make sure they are heard. This is a bit obvious, but we're in on the joke. Pause the video for a couple of minutes to write down the definition of dramatic irony. Okay, comedy through knowledge asides. An aside is a dramatic device in which a character speaks to the audience. By convention, the audience is to realise that the character's speech is unheard by the other characters on stage. An aside is usually a brief comment rather than a speech, such as a monologue or soliloquy. Pause the video to make notes on this. Okay, asides also create dramatic irony because they provide the audience with additional information to the other characters on stage. In this scene, asides are used to show interactions between some of the characters, but not others. Write down at least one example of how dramatic irony created in this scene through asides. Claudio gives updates to the other men like, he has 10 of them in the infection, hold it up, showing that Benedick is being conned by them. Don Pedro reviews the plan, explaining that the women will lay the next trap for Beatrice. He also mentions his plan to set up the awkward situation of getting Beatrice to call Benedick in for dinner. Setting a trap, language of hunting. I'd like you to read through Act 2, Scene 3, focusing on Claudio's asides. Find as many examples as you can that show language associated with hunting, for example, traps and fishing. Pause the video for 5 minutes to do this now. For a challenge, why does Shakespeare use language of hunting to represent his trick? What does it suggest about how the men view their plan? Away, stalk on, the fowl sits, bait the hook well, this fish will bite, let there be the same net spread for her. This language connotes the idea of entrapment, which is likened to sports like hunting and fishing. This suggests the men will find enjoyment in setting up this trap, perhaps seeing Benedick like their vulnerable prey. Setting a trap, convincing Benedick. Make notes on how the men trap him. How do they describe Beatrice's behaviour? What does Don Pedro say about the way that he feels about Beatrice, and why doesn't Benedick think that is the trick? Pause the video for 5 minutes to do this now. Okay, she'll be up 20 times a night, and there she will sit in her smock till she have writ a sheet of paper. My daughter tells us all. Oh, she tore the letter into 1,000 halfpence, and being so angry at herself, and she should to write to one that she knew would humiliate her. Hero thinks surely she will die, For she says she will die if he love her not, and she will die ere she make her love known, and she will die if he woo her. I would she had loved me. I would have knocked back all other women and married her. I should think this a trick, but that the white-bearded fellow speaks it. He is too old to be wicked. Pause the video and write in the answers if you never got them. They make it sound like Beatrice is in a really emotional state, and Benedick needs to save her. This appeals to a masculine desire to rescue a damsel in distress. They make it sound like the other men are interested. Competition also means Benedick sees the value of Beatrice. Leonato is involved. He's a wise old man, not someone who would trick others. So make sure you've written those answers down. So Benedick's change of heart. Benedick is left on stage alone again. So, just like the start of the scene where he had described his ideal woman, we have a soliloquy. Benedick suggests that taste change, just as someone's appetite might diminish, so too has his opinion about marriage changed. Pause the video to read through that soliloquy. Okay. Benedick also refers to the fact he previously said he would die a bachelor, joking he didn't expect to live this long. See how many of Benedick's list of ideal qualities for an ideal woman are represented in the soliloquy. Pause the video to do that now. So we've got fair, virtuous, wise, of good discourse, and that's it. Notice that now he's in love with Beatrice, some of the other things don't matter anymore. The awkward moment. Compare how they behave with one another in this moment, and compare that with the first scene together in Act 1, Scene 1. So here, Beatrice and Benedick are speaking at cross purposes, because Benedick thinks that Beatrice loves him, but Beatrice has no idea why he's suddenly behaving differently. Dramatic irony creates a lot of comedy in this moment. Watch this clip, but only up to 1 minute 11 seconds. We'll do the next scene next time. So pause this video, watch the clip, read through the scene on the slide, and then write down your comparison. This all should take you 8 minutes. Okay, so the change in Beatrice and Benedick's relationship. In Act 1, Scene 1, they were equals in a merry war, a skirmish of wit. Quick wordplay, always echoing each other's language, rare parrot teacher, a bird of my tongue. Both are mean to each other. Benedick is keen to break off the conversation. Act 2, Scene 3. Benedick is nice to Beatrice and seeks to hear that she likes him too. You take pleasure then in my message. Beatrice continues to play with words, speaking sarcastically. Yea, just so much as you may take upon a knife's point. Beatrice ends the conversation. Add to your notes. Spend 2 minutes doing that. So reflection. Who is Benedick? Write a paragraph exploring how Benedick is presented in this scene, in contrast to earlier in the play. Use evidence from at least 2 scenes. Challenge. Consider how soliloquies mean the audience know more about him now. How has our opinion of him changed since Act 1, Scene 1? Pause the video for 5 minutes to answer these questions. So well done for your work today. Next time we'll be reading the second of the eavesdropping scenes to see how Beatrice gets tricked. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you next time.